Hello, YouTube. We're back here again doing another nerd report, and the news is piling up. And I only got one thing to say: AT&T, better late than never. It is about time for you to finally come on the board. But before we get into the story, please hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then also stay for the story. So, why are we talking about AT&T today? Well, AT&T had their earnings call. I don't particularly cover earnings calls because that gets into the realm of playing speculation around, is the AT&T a good stock to buy? I don't do that. I look at it from more of a network point of view. So other channels will do that. I don't do it necessarily, but the information gleaned from the stock and the earnings calls kind of filter back into the tech side. So with that being said, this article is on lightreading.com, and I'll put this in the description. It's kind of a placeholder, but it's more of along the lines of understanding what's going on with AT&T and where they're currently at right now. And what happened in the earnings call basically was they reported out and broke out the numbers for fixed wireless. Oh my God. Welcome to fixed wireless, AT&T. You act like you kind of didn't really care about it early on because you didn't really have the spectrum to be able to play on that field. And now, because of EchoStar, as you can see, because of the EchoStar deal, it gave them more spectrum to be able to play around into the fixed wireless realm. One of the biggest things about companies is they like to kind of downplay what they don't see their strengths are and upplay where they feel like they're strong. And AT&T was showing early on that fixed wireless wasn't really everything. Everything was going to revolve around their fiber offerings, which sounds good, but anybody that knows about anything that has to do with infrastructure, that takes time and larger investments, while your competitors are able to branch out and grab more customers faster than you. It puts you on the back heel. And AT&T wasn't bolstering up their fixed wireless offerings because AT&T did not have the spectrum to be able to compete on the fixed wireless side. Now, before this deal with EchoStar, to give you an idea, AT&T had a lot of spectrum assets, but the spectrum assets were like what you consider little pools of water everywhere. Not to really go into it deep. I mean, if you really want to know about it, I could do a podcast about it and talk about it with people to give you an idea. But AT&T Spectrum Holdings is what you call vast but shallow. And to do fixed wireless and still provide service to your customers and, business side, you need deep pools of water, basically. And that's kind of what 2.5 gave for T-Mobile. That's what the C-band has done for Verizon, is it gives you a deep pool of water to pull from, where AT&T's spectrum holdings was very shallow. They had a lot of spectrum bands, but they were very shallow in the offerings. So now with EchoStar's deal, this gives more of a kick in the butt. It gives them a little bit more to play with. It gives them more spectrum that they did not have. And basically, because of this deal, they're leasing it from EchoStar currently right now before the deal is done. And now they can deploy it directly on their radios that they already have available. I have seen in different spots already through my testing that AT&T is trying to deploy it in certain spots. The they have multiple bands of N77, which is DoD and C-band, and it's starting to show up in different segments and different chunks currently. So I think the EchoStar, it is more compatible towards the DoD side, not the C-band side. I have to go back and look at exactly what it is, but that's what I think it is. And the C-band, the DoD side has grown in spectrum growth, which is giving them the ability to start playing around with fixed wireless. So that's one of the reasons why I'm saying now is better late than never, because AT&T was playing off fixed wireless for a very long time. And now that fixed wireless is looked upon as being a growth measure, AT&T is starting to lean into the growth measure of fixed wireless. So it's going to be very interesting to see going forward how AT&T starts moving. From my point of view as a network tester, it's not going very well because of how AT&T divvies up their network. You know, you got FirstNet, then you got the regular consumer facing side, and then you have now you're going to have fixed wireless. AT&T's network is more segregated than other networks, where T-Mobile's network is more a blend. Verizon is a blend, but you could tell there's segmentation going on, but it's very subtle. But with that being said, all the shakeups that's been going on, where T-Mobile's CEO is starting to step down, Verizon's CEO got ousted. The news is not looking very good for him because of how fast they got rid of him. It was kind of like, oh, everything's fine. Oh, he's gone. So it's going to be interesting to see how the CEO of AT&T is going to stand up to the level of scrutiny that's been going on, where AT&T has been kind of lackluster. They exist, they're there, and they're present, but they're not aggressively pushing the market. And that's kind of what I think that the shareholders are looking for, is how much of the market you're going to start pushing. How aggressive you're going to end up doing. It looks good right now, currently, that the fixed wireless numbers have been broken out to be able to show that they are offering this. And it's always good, finally, AT&T gets into the game of the fixed wireless. That's all well and good. But your competitors are already on the ground running, and they're trying to grab customers around your offerings. And like currently right now, AT&T is playing with another 30 megahertz channel nationwide of the 3.45 megahertz spectrum from EchoStar, plus the 20 megahertz nationwide 600 low band from EchoStar. Now, the 600 low band, that's not going to get deployed. Anybody who has seen how these networks have been operating, how they are deployed, AT&T already has more equipment on towers than any other carrier. So keep this in mind while, the speculation kind of runs rapid around. Do you honestly see AT&T adding another cellular band to an already crowded cell tower when their cell towers are already packed? That's just my opinion when it comes towards it. But the 3.45 spectrum can be added without adding hardware, which is why they are seeing such crazy success without having to add hardware to their already existing site. That's one of the beauties of this, is that the spectrum is ready to go and can be added right away, which is why the deal with EchoStar is so important. It gives them the financial, wherewithal to be able to go ahead and get the spectrum on air right away. But a wholesale boost and flip for FWA. So this is one of the biggest reasons why AT&T's earnings call sounded so well, and it seems very positive, is the fact that the spectrum that they got from EchoStar is powering their fixed wireless offering. It gives them more juice to be able to play with. And with that being said, it gives them a chance to finally get on the field for fixed wireless, where they were kind of placating it. They only offered it in areas where they didn't have heavy traffic. I don't think they were offering any fixed wireless offerings here in the DC metro area, due to the fact that AT&T is heavy traffic here. So now you add on another 30 megahertz of spectrum, that can turn the tide where you can finally start offering it in a very competitive market, where Verizon and T-Mobile are already playing in this and playing on this field. So it's good to finally see them finally get on the field. That's just going to be the running theme. Within this article, it kind of goes into the whole EchoStar being a hybrid model. I will leave that up to you to read. The more that you know about what's going on with the carriers, that gives you an idea about which direction they're going in. This kind of goes in more of a detailed summary of what's happening. But I can tell you this much: the most that I could see AT&T doing with their network is finally letting the fixed wireless aspect start growing. Once they own that spectrum, it's going to give them the biggest boost that they can possibly get. They can start piecing together a lot of the three C-band that they probably have. They can piece together a lot of the DoD. I know that T-Mobile still has some DoD and C-band that they might be able to try to trade for when it comes to the 600 megahertz. So look out for some deals that might be coming along with that. Even though I don't think EchoStar wants to play with T-Mobile anymore, but they probably going to end up doing a deal between each other when it comes to T-Mobile and AT&T. That way you can get more spectrum and more contiguous spectrum that gives you deeper pockets to be able to play in the fixed wireless game. But let me know what you think and how you feel about this. I believe that this is a good thing for AT&T. I just think that they're kind of late to the game, and your competitors are already, hitting the ground running. T-Mobile has already gone nationwide with 2.45, and they are blasting that out everywhere. I mean, I'm in the middle of a cornfield when I go back home to North Carolina, and they're offering fixed wireless there. They don't care where they can get it. They're trying to get in. And Verizon is tiptoeing in, but they're still present. But now that AT&T finally has a larger chunk of spectrum that they can finally offer up, they're now starting to get in. But I feel like maybe you might have got in a little too late. The market might end up getting saturated. But AT&T, old head company, they might be able to show that they can differentiate themselves. But let me know what you think. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below and tell me which direction do you think AT&T is heading in. Do you think this spectrum that they have acquired from EchoStar, currently right now they're leasing, they're going to end up buying it directly from them? But what do you think is going to happen to their network? I can tell you, as of testing their network, that it slightly has improved it, but AT&T's network is segregated, so I don't have a FirstNet line, and that's going to not let me see what's the true capability of their network is, because they separate the FirstNet from the consumer. But let me know, and y'all have a good one.